Welcome to This Day in His Story, created by American Heritage Worldwide. A reminder that every day holds something new to learn. Did you know that a group of fruitcake haters celebrate National Fruitcake Toss Day annually on the first Saturday in January by hand tossing and power launching fruitcakes with robotic, mechanical, and three-man slingshot devices? Travel the world with us to see the many versions of fruitcake that are either envied or hated all over the world.
So today we are tackling a holiday fixture that, let's be honest, manages to generate the most passionate love and, well, the most intense hatred you can imagine.
Absolutely. We're talking about fruitcake.
We are talking about fruitcake.
And it really is the world's most polarizing dessert. Our sources just confirm this right away. It's either this cherished tradition for people or it's this, enduring annual annoyance.
And that tension is actually built right into the calendar, which I find fascinating.
How so?
Well, for the lovers, you have National Fruitcake Day on December 27th. A day to celebrate it.
Right.
But then the moment the holidays are over, the pendulum just swings violently the other way.
That's right. And that's when you get National Fruitcake Toss Day.
For the dedicated fruitcake haters.
Exactly. It's held every year on the first Saturday in January. A truly spectacular act of culinary rejection.
So our mission today is to really dive deep into that whole dichotomy. We want to unpack its surprisingly long history. We're talking 2,000 years.
And explore all the different global variations, which really challenge what you think a fruitcake even is.
Exactly, and try to understand the cultural divide that keeps this dessert so relevant, not just as food, but as a symbol.
Let's start at the very beginning, because the history is so much older and, frankly, more impressive than most people think. We're tracing this thing back to antiquity.
I saw that in the sources. The claim is that a 2,000-year-old recipe is still kind of in use today. Is that for real?
It's a staggering thought, isn't it?
Yeah. Most recipes don't survive one generation, let alone 2 millennia. How can we even verify a claim that old?
Well, the documentation is pretty solid. We don't have, preserved fruitcake from 50 AD.
Okay, good.
But the conceptual roots, you can find them in the Apicius.
Oh, the famous Roman collection of recipes.
Exactly. And it wasn't a modern cookbook. It was more a text that documented elite cuisine, and it was copied and compiled over centuries. The versions we have date to around 900 AD.
So what we're talking about here is almost like a Roman power bar, right? Something designed for energy and preservation, not for, holiday indulgence.
Precisely. The early versions were made to fuel soldiers and travelers. It was functional food.
Okay, so let's jump from that Roman ration to the medieval version, because the ingredients there show a huge leap.
A big shift in purpose, too.
They started sweetening it with honey, which was expensive, and they used spices to preserve it, things like raisins, pomegranate seeds, pine nuts.
All incredibly costly trade items, and those ingredients, the spices, the dried fruits, that's what turned it from functional food into a luxury item.
The barley mash base was still there, though.
Right. But the real indicator of wealth was that shelf life. I mean, it could last almost indefinitely, which was a marvel before refrigeration.
And this all leads to maybe the most fascinating part of its history, the point where fruitcake becomes, politically charged.
The 18th century.
18th century. It gets so much richer because butter and sugar are more available.
And that richness, ironically, gets it banned for a while in parts of Europe.
A ban? Was it really just about decadence, or was there something deeper going on? I mean, to ban a specific food, it must have become a real flashpoint.
It was absolutely a flashpoint. Sugar and butter were symbols of enormous wealth. Historians think the ban was an attempt to regulate excess, maybe driven by these moralizing movements that saw this exceeding richness as scandalous when so many people were poor.
Wow. So the fruitcake itself becomes a metaphor.
Yes, a metaphor for unchecked luxury.
That's such a powerful idea that this, humble dessert could be so politically loaded.
But being fruitcake, it's resilient.
Yeah.
It made a massive comeback. It went from controversial to, required.
Right, because by the 19th century in England, it becomes the ultimate ceremonial dessert. It's the traditional wedding cake.
Symbolizing the lasting nature of the marriage itself.
That jump from political pariah to a wedding staple is just incredible. Okay, so let's unpack how this concept traveled. Because if you think fruitcake is just that dense brick you get at Christmas,
you are missing out on a massive, diverse, global family.
A huge family.
And what's really cool is how different cultures took that core idea, fruit, spice, a binder, and just ran with it using local flavors.
Like in Germany, for instance.
In Germany, you've got the classic stollen.
Oh yeah, the heavy bread dusted with all the powdered sugar.
Exactly. They say the shape and the sugar are supposed to look like a swaddled infant, a Christmas visual. It's also yeast leavened, so it's a bit lighter than some other versions.
And Italy gives us two totally different contenders.
Right. You have panettone, which is light. It's airy, almost like a sourdough, very tall and soft.
And then the other one.
And then you have panforte, which literally means strong bread.
And it is strong.
Oh, it's dense,
Yeah.
chewy, flat.
Yeah.
Much more like that medieval power bar we were talking about. Super stable. There are fruitcakes at complete opposite ends of the density spectrum.
And the family tree keeps going, right? Into Eastern Europe.
Yep. In Poland and Bulgaria, they call it cakes. And then if you go south to the Caribbean, you find the famous black cake. And this is where the preservation technique gets extreme and delicious.
The rum.
So much rum. These cakes aren't just drizzled with it, they are truly soaked in it, sometimes for months. The alcohol is the ultimate preservative.
Even Lunar New Year has a version. The Vietnamese bon bum mut cakes. The sources even mention the honeycomb cake.
It just shows how fluid the definition is. Preserved sweetness tied to a celebration.
Okay, but my favorite discovery in the sources, the one that really gets into the social aspect of food, is the Portuguese king cake, the boloré.
Ah, yes, the hidden treasure.
Tell us about the treasure. What's the detail that connects this cake to social responsibility?
It's a fava bean. A single small fava bean is baked right into the cake.
And finding it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's a wonderful consequence. You don't win a prize, do you?
No, you win an obligation.
An obligation.
Whoever gets that slice with the bean is traditionally required to provide the boloré the next year.
It's a brilliant way to keep the tradition going. It's not a rule. It's a fun, delicious game.
It creates this self-perpetuating cycle of tradition built on shared responsibility. It's so much more profound than just eating a slice of cake.
So we have this dessert with ancient roots, a complex political past, and it's incredibly adaptable. But we have to address the modern problem. A lot of people despise it, which brings us to the fruitcake haters and their annual ritual.
Which is why we have National Fruitcake Toss Day. Every first Saturday in January in Manitou Springs, Colorado, it is a spectacle.
And this is not just a gentle, polite throw in the park, is it? We're talking about competitive athletics here.
And competitive engineering, frankly. They have different contests. They separate the hand toss from the power launch.
A power launch? What does that even mean?
The sources describe robotic launchers, mechanical catapults, even three-man slingshot devices.
You're kidding.
All designed to propel these dense cakes for maximum distance. They're applying serious physics to the act of rejecting a dessert.
That is some serious dedication to dislike. But, I mean, it also says something about the cake's structural integrity, right? It has to be tough to survive a catapult.
It really does. But there's a really nice twist here, a bit of redemption built into the event.
Oh.
To balance out, launching baked goods into the sky, competitors have to bring food donations for local food banks. It's charity through projectile baking.
That's great. So they accept any kind of food donation.
Any kind. Canned goods, pasta. But the sources make one very specific and honestly hilarious exclusion.
Let me guess.
Anything is accepted except fruitcake.
Of course. That one rule just perfectly sums up the entire dynamic, doesn't it?
It really does.
Okay, let's pull a few final fun facts from the sources. Mail-order fruitcakes started way back in 1913.
Which, again, just highlights its durability. It was engineered for shipping long before most other foods.
And that phrase we all use, nutty as a fruitcake, it sounds so old, but it was actually coined in 1935.
Relatively modern, yeah. And for anyone eating it here in the U.S., it's good to know that most commercial versions are alcohol-free, unlike those Caribbean ones.
Right. And finally, that classic look, the dusting of powdered sugar, that's still the standard finish for most bakers today.
So we've tracked this thing across 2,000 years, around the globe, and into a slingshot in Colorado. So the big question is, what does it all mean? What does this incredibly durable, controversial dessert tell us about culture?
It seems like the cake itself, and specifically the fruit inside it, has this metaphorical power that goes way beyond the kitchen.
It absolutely does. And what's so fascinating is how the sources pivot from the literal food to this profound moral metaphor.
Comparing the quality of the fruit to the quality of a person's actions.
Exactly. The fruit is the outcome, the result of a deeper source.
We saw that play out with the 18th century ban, where the exceeding richness was the bad fruit that society was trying to reject.
And that idea has deep scriptural roots. The source material actually quotes from 3 Nephi chapter 14. Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit.
The fruit is the evidence of the tree.
The fruit is the evidence.
And this really moves the whole conversation from, candied cherries to actual consequential behavior. It raises some important questions for you, the listener, to think about.
Right. If you take that metaphor seriously, the questions become pretty profound. Like, in what ways does good behavior, like that long-lasting tradition of the bolo rei or the community food drive at the Toss Day, bring about great blessings?
And on the flip side, how does wrong behavior, like that 18th century excessive richness that led to social critique and a ban, ultimately bring about bad results?
Suddenly, the fruitcake isn't just a dessert. It's a symbol of the ultimate enduring outcome of our actions.
And it is enduring. The sources even mention a fun song about it, Everlasting Fruitcake. It just lasts culturally and, well, physically.
That's the perfect summary, really. We've traced it from a simple barley mash to a wedding symbol, through a political ban, all the way to being a projectile in a bizarre athletic event.
So whether you love it or you hate it, fruitcake is, without a doubt, a permanent fixture.
And its global adaptability mirrors that longevity. You've got the rum-soaked Caribbean cake, the social engineering of the Portuguese bolo rei, the pure density of the Italian pan forte. It's not one thing, it's a whole spectrum of durability.
Which leaves us with a final question for you to chew on. Considering the structural integrity needed for those power launching contests, which unique global version do you think would actually hold up best? Which one would fly the farthest?
Would it be the ultra-dense panforte? Or maybe that heavy alcohol-soaked Caribbean cake? And if you decided to try one beyond what you already know, which fascinating global version would you choose? That's something to think about until our next deep dive.
Thank you for joining us for this day in His story. May the lessons of yesterday inspire you to see God's hand today and to play your part in His story now. For more faith-based learning, visit ahsworldwide.org, the homeschool for faith and family.